You just can't come in and have great expectations of this massive sales within 60 days. You have to learn the cycle of sale. You have to have the patience. If you're coming in brand new and you're just like, all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ask the question.
Hi there. Welcome to the Alchemy K12 podcast. I'm Clare Hollenbeck, along with my co-founder, Claire Harrison. And welcoming back to the show, we have William Shelley, good friend from Pearson days, experienced sales leader, and here to share some of his abundant wisdom with us. So thank you, William.
Thank you all for having me back again.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So, William, we had a question around when you're maybe an experienced salesperson, but you're new to the K-12 industry. How do you acclimate, build context, get up to speed, and know what questions to ask and how to approach the market?
Now, this is a great question for everybody that's listening, because so many people do come into this market and they think it's a traditional B2B market. And then they get in the first 2 months, what did I just get myself into? Because it's not like I can go out and talk to somebody and they have money and they'll buy and then we're ready to go and we put it into our pipeline and it moves through smoothly and
Right.
things are going out. And for the most part, what you're coming into and the thing they have, the training part to actually understand is it's a complex cycle that the person that is the user of what you're selling is not the person that is anywhere near the person that has the money.
Right.
And that it's a tier of people. So if you look at a teacher and they are whatever you're selling, that's the person that's using it. They have a principal above them. And the principal may be the person that's buying it. Or it could be the coach that's from the district that's actually getting it purchased for them. So there's two ways that one person can get it. It could be that the district made a decision and everybody in the district's using it and they have to use it. And so that's another person. Or it could be out of a federal program fund. It could have been something. So you've got all these ranges of people that come down to this one teacher and they're like, okay, I have this now. And how do I use it and why? So if you're a new salesperson coming in, you have to figure out, where do I go to sell? And where do I go to get my influencers that get me to that place that will actually purchase?
Right.
And so you're developing relationships linear and horizontal throughout the district. And understanding that a district is not just, it's the business, but there's all these little entities within there and microcosms that you have to find, where are my points that I can find someone that takes me up to the money and takes me down to the user. And
Right.
so
Well,
those are your key people.
and I was going to say, this is, as marketers, we know this well because this is about personas.
Mhm.
And so you have your buyer personas, you have your influencer persona, you really need to understand those different roles and do research around those roles and those needs, because they will be different, especially for different areas, different discipline areas, et cetera, different needs-based areas. So if you are coming in to K-12 sales from another industry and you're going to learn stuff, where do you go to learn more about the industry? What are some resources that you point new reps to?
So, and it's according to the rep. So if they've come out without an education background, you've got to start learning education and how the system works. That's number one, and how the party, like you would go Google, but it's also really, to be honest, it's conversations. It's getting out the door, getting in the districts and asking them the right questions. Hey, I'm new. Being honest, hey, I have never spent a day in K-12 in my life. This is all new to me. Could you tell me, and sit down with someone, could you tell me how this works in your district?
Oh boy, but are you going to want to say,
Yeah.
I've never spent a day in my life? I mean, like, I don't know if you're going to want to right off the bat be saying that, but
No, I mean, it's all, if you're a
Well, maybe they'll
salesperson.
take you under their wing and help you
Yes.
learn.
that's true.
Because here's the thing that I found. You can do this, because here's what I found is that if you are new coming in, if you're a new rep or whatever, that excuse can be used for 1.5 years or 2 years. I am new to this. I'm really wanting to learn more about what you do in your district and how this system works. those things there will open up doors for you. Again, you have to know who you're talking to. I mean, the
Know your
persona,
audience.
and know your
Yeah.
audience.
And you
There
didn't
are
make
some
it
people.
sound like you haven't, you're putting the onus on them to teach you.
Fair
It's
Correct.
point.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's putting an onus on them for you. I want to learn more about how you all are doing it here. I
Hmm.
want to learn more. The other place is if you're coming into a company and there's more experienced people, is to mentor up. I've always set up mentors. I think in one of the podcasts we've used Greg Cantoni's name before, but I literally set him
Yeah,
up with
Greg,
every
another
person
shout out
ever.
for you, Greg.
Yeah. And he is phenomenal. You put him in there with those folks that are new and they get in a car and ride around and go to every school, drop off, and what they do. It's all these little basic pieces that you go through because Greg also did not have an educational background. And
Mhm.
so you can be a great salesperson in this market without having that. It's all about knowing how to have the conversation with someone and listening to them. And if you're willing to do that, open up and listen, you're going to be more successful. It's great if you have an education background. Sometimes it also can be a hindrance if you think you know too much, And
Yep.
so it's finding that balance. But, if it's just such a different market. You just can't come in and have great expectations of this massive sales within 60 days. You have to learn the cycle of sale. You have to have the patience. Some of these sales could be 4 years before you actually see it in reality. And so those are different than anything that's in the market. And having the openness and understanding to be objective and also to be able to learn from others around you. Those reps that have been in that business for 20 or 30 years, pick their brain. If you're coming in brand new and you're just like, all broad-eyed, bushy-tailed, you know, ask the questions. How do they get in the doors? What are the conversations that they have? How do you develop your own strategies and take what worked outside of the market for you and figure out how it works in, because then you're bringing your ideas in and those may work. But
Right.
just understanding your audience and your customer is the most important thing.
Yeah. So let's say in your experience when you've mentored folks who are coming in from other markets, what have they been able to teach you that you have incorporated into the way that you're
Mm.
approaching things?
And that's multiple points on those. Part of it is the conversation to how you actually have it, because I want to go in and just talk about school, what they're doing, all of that. It's more about some of the techniques of sales, right?
Mm.
Of maybe it's how I went in, especially with the younger ones coming in. I went on and chat GBT and looked up blue, 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 and this is what I got. And taking that data in with me and having that conversation, or I went on and found this. So taking some of that data piece in so that you've got that more high level approach. Sometimes they also are more willing to go upwards further
Hmm.
than downwards because they want to go and find the superintendent. And my world is that's not where you start. In some cases, there's a place where you can go in and start with the superintendent. And so I've learned how to kind of do that and navigate through. I mean, you learn from everybody. Everybody's going to be different, and it's according to the industry that they're from.
Right.
If they're from healthcare, it's actually a pretty good transition if you can relate how healthcare and education work well, because it's all about taking care of your customer and your patient. And your customer in our case is a student at the end of the day. The
Yeah.
teacher and the student. In their case, it is an actual patient. So it's tiered a little bit, and they will have a more conversation. If they're coming in from big tech, it's a whole other understanding of how you have conversation with the people. Uh, they're probably, but those folks that have come in from big tech have taught me all kinds of things about how you go and talk to a CTO.
Ah,
That's not my
right.
wheelhouse, but that personnel, that persona is very different. And those folks, that's their wheelhouse. They can go and drive that business right from there. So, and pairing people up within teams that have different, and I did this when I taught, it's the same thing as pair share in teaching. It's pairing up people with different abilities and different ones and then rotating them through, so having different mentors as you go through the process. So it's fun, but it's the whole understanding for that person coming in. If you're the one on the other end of this want to come into education sales, it's about having an openness and willingness to learn, that it's very different than the other of the B2Bs out there.
Right. And it sounds like you can learn it. Don't let it intimidate you. Just come in and listen, build relationships, do your homework,
Yeah,
and you'll be okay.
yeah, you don't have to be a science teacher to sell science.